Hello and welcome and good evening, darts fans. It is the Online Darts Live League once again. It is our last session of the week in qualifying for the Week 3 finals here in Phase 3. And we should have a fantastic climax to Group B for Friday night going into the early hours of Saturday morning. We're going to be starting with Darryl Pilgrim against Andy Hamilton in due course. Should be a fantastic match as we flip the fixtures from Thursday evening. There's a lot of people who can still qualify this evening, and we will guide you through all of our different complexities over the course of the next 3 and a bit hours. But before we start, we are going to have a little recap just to see what happened a little bit earlier in the week. As far as Group A is concerned, it was Matthew Dennant who came through that group on top by 2 points, beating out Scott Marsh, as he got only the 7 wins as opposed to Matt Dennant getting a vital 8th. Ciaran Teehan, who you will see tonight alongside Scott Marsh, will have a second crack at getting through a group in Group B. But Simon Stevenson, James Richardson and Ryan Murray, they found their way to Group C over the course of the last couple of days, playing at 9:30 in the morning all the way through to 2 o'clock. And let's see how they got on in the final Group C table. It was Ryan Finesse and Josh Richardson who found their way through to the Saturday finals. 16 points for Finesse and 14 for Josh Richardson. It has a very similar look, doesn't it, to the Group A table where the winner has 16 and the runner-up has 14. But everybody had 10 games, and ultimately Simon Stevenson, who had a very good last game of the group, wasn't able to get enough points on the second day. After getting 8 points on Thursday, he was only able to get half of that in the second day, so he came up just short. So Finesse and Josh Richardson went through. Unfortunately, Josh's father, James, didn't make it after being in the 2 groups this week, so he is on his way back to Northamptonshire. As far as Group B is concerned, everything is very tight. So let's have a look at this. Andy Hamilton will start his campaign in match 1, and he will do so at the top of the table. Paul Hogan is on 6 points as well. Darryl Pilgrim will be looking for an early 2 points against one of his bitter rivals here in Andy Hamilton to take one of the top 3 spots to go through. But Tien is still in with a shout. Scott Marsh on 0 points has got a lot to do, and he needs some favours from other quarters. Without further ado, we are going to go down to the board now to see Darryl Pilgrim up against Andy Hamilton. It promises much. Let's see what we can get from this best of 7 leg match. They're just finishing up their practice darts.
6 more each.
And they will have 6 more each before we get cracking for Friday night. Now, Darryl Pilgrim yesterday, the 34-year-old from just outside of South London, played extremely well. Now, you may sense that I'm embellishing saying extremely there. Well, he did play really, really well. But the fact of the matter is, he only walked away with half of the amount of points that he could have got. In the corresponding fixture in match 10 yesterday, he walked away with a 4-2 loss against Hamilton, who had a particularly plucky evening of darts. We'll run through all of the statistics from yesterday's play over the next couple of legs,
Okay, first
just to give you a bit of insight as to what happened.
Game on.
But ultimately, just to keep things simple, the top 3 will go through this group into the finals alongside Matt Dennant, the Group A winner,
27.
Finesse, the Group C winner, and Josh Richardson, who came out in second place in Group C. The only person who was very likely to miss out in this group is Scott Marsh, who came out with no points on Thursday. But first, let's touch on Pilgrim, because he started his campaign yesterday with 101 average against Scott Marsh. It was a blistering performance. And it wasn't alone, because in match 7 against Ciaran Teehan, another 4-1 win, where he averaged even more at 103.93. But the other 2 matches were quite frustrating for him, especially the 4-3 loss to Paul Hogan, where he was in control of that game. but 3 players of the 5 in this group averaged over 90 for the night.
134.
And as for Pilgrim, he averaged over 95 for the night, with 5 maximums, 2 ton plus checkouts, and almost 40% on doubles. It was a world-class performance, and the only thing that he was left wanting were points.
180.
We don't have to wait long for our first maximum, and it comes from the former world finalist, the Hammer.
96.
He's taken the darts away from Darryl Pilgrim very early here. But it has to be said, some of the timed shots yesterday from Hamilton were perfect. He didn't average the most of everybody yesterday, but he still ended up at the top of the tree. He would love to win this group.
136.
He'd love to send a message to the rest of the people who stand in his way of winning this week. But Pilgrim's done well to leave himself on a small 2 darter to take this first leg of the contest.
Now we require 48.
Double 16.
Game on the first
And I'm not
leg.
surprised to
Darryl
see that
Pilgrim.
taken clinically, because in the early echelons of yesterday's play, he was hitting doubles almost with his eyes closed.
Second leg is Andy to throw first.
As for
Game
Andy's performance yesterday, 87.97 was his running average for his 4 matches on Thursday and into Friday morning. Just a couple of maximums, which he's already added to.
140.
The 1 ton plus checkout, which was a 1-2-1. That was particularly good. And just like his opponent here, and this is one of the best
95.
statistics I've seen today, their checkout percentage is identical. 39.39%. You don't see that very often over the course of 4 matches. In fact, overall, the doubles in this group yesterday were excellent. The only person who underperformed, in my opinion, was Scott Marsh, with 26% on his doubles. Everybody else was over 1 in every 3 darts at double hit, which is very, very tidy. Now, if you are tuning in on Sporty Stuff TV tonight, and this is your first time watching the Online Darts Live League, first and foremost, thank you for joining us.
58.
And you may not know what this is all about. The top 3 people in this table will go through to the weekly finals tomorrow, and the aim of the finals tomorrow is not just to bank the £2,000 for winning the night, but if you get yourself in the top 3 tomorrow, you will qualify for Champions Week, which will start a week on Tuesday. And there are players, 6 of them, who have already qualified.
84.
We'll go through their names in just a
Darryl
moment.
167.
Let's give Darryl Pilgrim a shot at a 12 darter. It's still on, but he's not going to take it.
135.
He's making good decisions, causing Hamilton problems early.
$87.
Double 16 was good to him in the first leg.
Game
And it
on
is
the
once
second
again.
leg. Darryl
There were
Pilgrim.
times last night, and I said earlier on that he could have hit doubles with his eyes closed, but twice last night he started just like this, not missing doubles at all.
Fella gets Darryl to throw first. Game on.
In one of his displays against Ciaran Teehan, where he averaged 104 almost, the best winning average of the week,
93.
he was 80% on doubles. That'll do wonders for your confidence. And in another game against Paul Hogan, where he lost 4-3, and it just goes to show how tight this game was.
180.
Speaking of tight, how did he get that dart in there? That was magic from Andy Hamilton. But in match 4 against Paul Hogan,
46.
Darryl Pilgrim averaged 98. And he had 75% of his doubles as well. And predominantly, you will find that that's a winning formula, but not against Hogan.
39.
He only missed a couple of shots of double in that match, and one of them was to win 4-0. And it was at the bullseye. He didn't do anything else wrong, in my opinion.
140.
This year, Pilgrim seems to be one of those players who is just extremely hard to beat. And this is the way you can give yourself the best chance of it.
121.
This one doesn't nestle in, but it does still leave a finish.
What is
it about this guy who seems to be able to find easier shots than his opponent more often than not? However, it's a bullseye shot for a 161.
136.
Nearly finds the target. And that would have been Andy Hamilton's biggest finish here this year. Does Pilgrim find the ball for 3-0? Oh boy, he's in the mood
Darryl
once
Pilgrim.
again. He's not missing anything. This is a stunning display. And for the first 3 legs, he's averaging 100.2.
Flick Andy to throw first. Game on.
Hamilton averaging just short of 92 and only getting 1 shot at a bullseye in the first 3 legs.
43.
It's a bit like one of those tweets or those Instagram posts, isn't it? Tell me your opponent's playing well without telling me that your opponent's playing well. I'll just talk to you about what Andy's done, because you know that Pilgrim has played well. This could be catastrophic for the chances of Hamilton. Not the best footing for the rest of the night, but there you see a 97.5. Somehow it looks better than that.
140.
And it would mean we'd have Pilgrim on 6 points, as well as Hogan and Hamilton, if indeed he is able to get one more leg. His leg difference is only 1 behind Andy. So a win here over the next couple of legs for Pilgrim, and he would put himself at the top of the tree. I was on Sporty Stuff TV a little bit earlier on tonight talking about some of our picks for the evening. And my first one was for Pilgrim to be king of the hockey in this game. I just sensed that he would be ready to put in something quite explosive at the start, and he's proving me right. But that is the third 180 from Hamilton. Now, if you don't know what king of the hockey is, it means most 180s, highest finish, and the win.
72.
Andy Hamilton's got 3 180s. Pilgrim's got none. Double 16.
30.
First miss at double for Andy that isn't a bullseye.
$83. And he required 32.
Just to get a footing in this game and to keep asking the question.
Game shot on the
that's just about in there.
Andy Hamilton.
Just about. It was almost a double 8. But he registers the green bit to get his first leg of the night. And maybe this game isn't over yet.
Fifth leg is Darryl to throw first. Game on.
That was just a hold. I just suppose that the biggest thing about Pilgrim is no matter where he plays this year, whether it's Challenge Tour, whether it's that solitary game on the Pro Tour that he had where he averaged 99, whether it's here or independent events,
58.
He's playing well wherever he goes. right now he's not the kind of person you want to run into.
95.
And we're talking about a player that has been very close to winning a phase this year. He came third in week 3 of phase 1. And when he went to Champions Week, he did pick up second spot overall. He ended up losing to Jim McEwen that night in the final.
140.
Wasn't able to bag that £6,000, but he got awfully close. He would love to go one better over the next couple of weeks, but first, he's got to make his way to the finals.
121. Area record 126.
126 away from the first 2 points of the night.
$90.
I'm trying to figure out where he was going with that second dart. So 57 left, 69. He must have been going for treble 11 for double 18, and it just landed half an inch short. That or he went for the treble 19 and it came out all wrong. But it doesn't matter. Because he has won the match anyway with the 13 darter. And once again, it's a great display and a very good average as well. 98.71. So he brings his overall average in this group up a couple of points potentially. 100% on the checkouts. Does it get any better than that? No, it doesn't. His doubling over the last couple of days has been stupendous. And everybody's got a problem against this guy tonight. Andy Hamilton will stay on 6 points. Pilgrim has joined him, but he goes above him on leg difference. Match number 2 will be Scott Marsh up against Ciaran Teehan. Tien, if he wins this match, will confine Marsh to the basement. And I don't think Marsh is going to qualify anyway, but if he has any chance, he has to win every match here this evening. We'll have a short break and we'll be right back with match 2. Hello darts fans and welcome back to our Group B action here for Friday evening at the Online Darts Live League. Ciaran Teehan will now try to join the party on 6 points if he can, at the expense of Scott Marsh, who is in 5th place in the table. The 39-year-old who narrowly lost out in Group A is back for one more try, but one more defeat here to Ciaran Teehan. We'll see him demoted to going home for the weekend.
Okay, first leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
But Tien starts this match right here on 4 points. And a leg difference of all square. Very much in with a shout of making the top
60.
3. If he can beat Marsh for a second time in 24 hours, there will be 4 players on 6 points
57.
in this table and 1 person on 0. So 2 things will be clear if Tien wins this match. It's a real melee
60.
for those 3 spots, and Marsh is going home. But there's still that tiny remote possibility that if Marsh wins all of his games tonight, he might squeeze in.
140.
If he wins those games by a big enough margin, but it's highly unlikely. And one of the reasons he's on 0 points is because he had the lowest average yesterday of 84.91. He had the lowest checkout
86.
percentage. He didn't have the least amount of 180s, I will say that. But he had the smallest, highest checkout as well. And what I mean by that is
140.
the biggest checkout of the night was taken by Andy Hamilton of a 121. Scott Marsh's best effort was 66. What also doesn't work in Scott's favour is his leg difference, which is minus 10.
$58.
I'm sure when Ciaran was getting to the venue today, he was thinking that this is a must-win, just to stay in with a shout, regardless of what happened between Hamilton and Pilgrim. But the first maximum of this match goes the way of the man from Orpington. Could change this leg as well. Then again, it might not. And it's a beautiful 106 checkout. And Marsh is probably thinking right now, what have I got to do just to get some legs on the board? Everybody seems to have the antidote to my poison.
Game on.
He has registered a lot of ton plus finishes this week, Ciaran Teehan. It has to be said.
70.
I would say that's probably been the best part of his game.
100.
In Group A alone, he had 5 ton plus checkouts, including a best effort of 160. Considering some of the company he was keeping, that was a very fine attempt at form. As far as yesterday is concerned, Ciaran got 1 ton plus out of 106.
100.
Look what he took in the first leg. It was another 106. So maybe that's his number.
134.
He won't be looking for a horror show on Friday the 13th, that's for sure. But yesterday it was very solid. Average of 90.85 for the night. 34.5% for his doubles. Makes for good reading. And like Pilgrim, he picked up 50% of the points that were on offer to him.
105.
And he did beat Scott Marsh yesterday by 4 legs to 1. What he would give for another scoreline like that. And if he did, he'd be on the same points as Hamilton, Hogan and Pilgrim.
You require 96.
And he'd be on the same leg difference as Paul Hogan before he starts his campaign tonight. Double 8.
88.
And an outside shot here for Marsh.
Scott, you require 144.
That's perfect. Double 12. Oh,
Game shot on the second leg.
Very nice.
Scott Marsh.
2 ton plus checkouts to start this match. And that one is the best of this group so far.
Third leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
The one thing that everybody knows about Marsh is that he's very hard to get rid of. He just refuses to go away.
57.
And has this resilience that a lot of players envy. Just ask James Richardson from the WDF World Championship. Marsh found his best darts in the last 3 sets and shocked the living hell out of Ruthless, who was eliminated earlier today, but did see his young boy go through to the finals for Saturday. This is good.
140.
Still left a little disappointed with the last dart. You have to say, that finish from Marsh was brilliant. But
60.
the only reason he was given that shot was because of a miss at double 8 by Ciaran.
$54.
We're getting to the point of the year where this room starts to get a little bit hotter. I remember what it was like last summer. It was boiling in here.
100.
That is something these players will have to get used to if and when they come back. I do have the list of players for next week in week 4. And I will divulge those
102.
particular players at this time tomorrow. So you're going to have to wait. Tien could be looking at this 65 for a 3-0 lead.
60.
But I guarantee you, he'll be very happy to be 2-1 up. That makes things a bit awkward. Got to hit the bullseye this time.
40. Scott, you require 124.
He's just a bit scruffy after getting that small 4. 54 bull. And he gets the small 4 this time.
84.
My advice to you, Ciaran, is don't miss this time. For a 3rd consecutive break of throw in this match. It's double 8 again, but he's got 2 darts for it. And he busts it. That's a very unfortunate collision. Is Marsh going to play spoiler tonight to everybody else's chances? Double 10.
$30.
Doesn't take it. So Tien, via that bust shot,
25.
must take out the odd number first again. Gets it.
Game
And
shot
also
the
gets
third
the
leg.
double.
Ciaran Teehan.
So he's very fortunate to be 2-1 up, but he languidly goes back to the oche now, thinking he's in charge again, when he does have the lead.
Fourth leg, it's Ciaran to throw first. Game on.
Averages have plummeted a little bit into the 80s range. There you can see them. It was all very cushy after
83.
2 legs for Ciaran, who was up towards 100, but when you start busting shots and missing doubles, averages do plummet. We've only got one more player to unveil tonight. That's Paul
48.
Hogan. He will take on Andy Hamilton in Game 3. And he was very impressive yesterday. I'll talk you through his stats when he's on your screen. That is a very tightly compacted
180.
maximum there for Ciaran. First of the match. Maybe it's only a matter of time before Marsh
45.
is mathematically out of this group. And then he will have to play spoiler the way that Ryan Murray and Sam Kankett and James Richardson did earlier on in Group C. They were eliminated early in the group. And after that, chances were missed. Doubles were missed.
140.
Ultimately, it was Josh and Finesse who got 10 points today from a possible 10 who progressed. Finesse was excellent.
86.
Whatever Marsh does, he just doesn't seem to be scoring at the same level he was on Tuesday. Is he feeling a little tired? Is he in need of a couple of weeks off darts just to recharge his batteries? It's been a hectic year for him. As Tien goes for double 16.
20.
He will return. I get the feeling if he got that second 60, he was going to try and leave double 3.
32.
Tien for the first hold of throw in this match.
This
could get very costly in a second.
Scott, you require 86.
He does not deserve this chance. He shouldn't be getting it. But when somebody gives it to you, you take it. Anybody for a hold of throw in this match? Apparently not. So, best of 3 from here, and any holds will be good.
Scott to throw first.
Especially if you're Scott Marsh who has the darts.
$100.
There's a little bit more urgency about Scott Marsh now. But I am not overselling this. Tien could have won this match 4-0. He's at darts at double in every leg. And if he winds up losing this match and not going through tonight, this match will tell the tale. Still plenty of time to go.
140.
This is not one of those rooms where you can get a bit feisty and celebrate, grunt and groan and gesticulate. This is why you've got to have a really good floor game. You've got to play within yourself. And I think that plays into the wheelhouse of Tien because he's not that dramatic.
97.
As for Marsh, I see him as a stage player. I think he plays his best stuff when he's on a big stage in front of lots of people. That doesn't mean he can't play in a floor setting like this. The play here is 25 or 19.
95.
The 19 leaves 164.
You require 124.
25 would have left 158. Go for the treble 18. 86 left.
56.
Even though it was blocked, it was still the right thing to do. So he should, for the 5th consecutive leg,
64.
get his shot at double to win it.
Here in your requires 68.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but it's for the 5th consecutive break of throw.
Game
and he
shot
finds
the 5th
it.
leg. Ciaran
What
Teehan.
is going on? So if we do get one hold from Ciaran Teehan now, he will win by 4 legs to 2, but it's easier said than done.
Six flag, it's Ciaran to throw first.
He's missed 10 darts at double in this match.
Game on.
Scott has only missed 3. But Tien's had 13 attempts to Marsh's 5. That tells a very, very bold story.
97.
It's a good average here for Ciaran. It's 90. Marsh at 84, which is very similar to what he was doing yesterday.
140.
But I'm pretty sure there's going to be one more twist in the tail in this game at least. Or maybe there won't be.
140.
Or maybe there will be.
180.
As we get Marsh with his second maximum. He's now leading that little column. Might have some company.
97.
Just fails to hit that second dart in the treble, which would have been really sweet. But he's getting a look at a 167 to win the match.
41.
And Ciaran loves that 41.
167.
Because in every likelihood, he will get 6 from here. But don't forget that Marsh has hit a 144 in this game.
59.
Can he find
Scott,
something very similar?
140.
2 treble 20s again for double 10. Wasn't far away.
100. Ciaran, you require 108.
To win the game, to get 2 valuable points. Interesting.
56.
Couldn't see the 57, so he
Scott,
went for the 51
40.
to try and do double 19. I like that thinking. Double 10. Are we going all the way? Oh,
20.
that is really unfortunate. Just took too much of his own dart with the flight
Ciaran,
path.
you require 52.
And Tien, who's had a shot at double in every one of the 6 legs we've played, now will get a look to win 2 points here. Double 16.
Game
And he
shot
doesn't
on the
mess
match.
around this time.
Ciaran
With
Teehan.
the only hold of throw in the entire match. And that ensures that Scott Marsh does not go through this group. He has not won a match out of the 5. Ciaran Teehan and everybody else will have 6 points going into match 3. They are the stats. 28.57 on the checkouts, and that high checkout for Tien, 106, which came in leg 1. But the best from Scott Marsh of 144 is stark consolation because he is going home at the end of the night. Let's have a look at Paul Hogan. He's playing against Andy Hamilton in match number 3. That's coming up in a few short moments. Welcome back to Group B action here at the Online Darts Live League, and we've seen 4 of our players in Group B in action already. Let's have a look at the last one, which is Crocodile Dundee, Paul Hogan up against the Hammer. Bit of a stumble for Andy Hamilton in match 1 against a very good performing Darryl Pilgrim. He'll want to get a win as soon as possible, because there is a bit of a melee happening at the top of the table. But the 58-year-old, originally from Dudley in the West Midlands, will now take on
first leg is Andy to throw first.
Someone of the same sort of age, slightly younger in fact, in another best-of-7 leg match here, which will see one of these players go to 8 points and to the top of the table for now. That is before 100. We see Ciaran Teehan and Darryl Pilgrim play next. And then another player will go to 8 points. This one is going to go to the wire. Believe me.
100.
As for yesterday for Paul Hogan, 4 matches played, 3 wins. One of those particularly heroic against Darryl Pilgrim. I'm still not really sure how he won that match.
139.
The only defeat that he suffered was against Ciaran Teehan in his first match, which was in match 2. He's starting pretty buoyantly here. This is a bad sign for Andy, if Hogan's in the mood. But he averaged 91.41 yesterday, did Hoagie. It was a very steady performance all night long. He didn't put in anything spectacular. But if you look at his checkout percentage, that was pretty good indeed. 46.67% on checkouts. That is, without a doubt, over 4 matches, world class. But he only had a high out of 96. So like I say, he wasn't doing anything spectacular. He was just doing a lot of things right.
84. We require 81.
3 maximums yesterday. And he's already got 1 here. 66 left. Forced to go 16 bull.
45.
Let's look on the bright side, Paul. You just left your favourite double.
34.
He's looking north, but doesn't go north enough.
94.
Still a good attempt.
36.
But it's Hogan at double 18. And there's only one result when he's playing this well. That double 18 is going to get battered tonight if Hogan keeps leaving it.
Secondly, it's Paul to throw first.
And what do you know? It's another break of throw. We're seeing more breaks of throw tonight than we are holds of throw.
100.
Now, I've been casting my mind back because I'm a self-confessed darts nerd. I remember looking back at early Andy Hamilton games in the PDC and thinking, this is the kind of player that I can get behind. Got a bit of aggression, great work ethic. But if you look at some of his early games, his original set of darts before he signed with Unicorn, they were very similar to Paul Hogan's darts. It was when he went to Unicorn that he started to use this tapered style barrel that looks like
140.
Looks like a submarine, to be fair. But he's made some minor changes to his darts over the last few months, and I think these ones work really well. I personally think they work better than his previous set, that were just going in at a slightly different angle. They look slightly slimmer, with a slightly different grip texture.
$80.
Hogan still has the darts pretty much with a 20-point deficit. but that's gone.
84.
And if he finds a 140 with his next visit, he'll be on double 18 again. But the problem he has is Hamilton is banking maximums tonight.
180.
That is his fourth in a game and a bit. And it could well be a break back straight away.
100. And he requires 60.
To keep things tight in our third game of the night. Out of 10, Hamilton needs to find tops.
40.
And he doesn't.
Paul, you require
If
76.
Hogan misses the 60, expect him to stay on the 20s. Double 18.
40.
And when he's missing it, he's not missing
And
it by
he requires
much.
20.
So that is a bit of a reprieve for the hammer. And you can see how much he
15
hates
last
that
time
shot at
doesn't
double
count.
5.
Paul, you require 36.
He's left himself on double 1. The next door neighbour of the double just missed.
Game's on the second leg.
I've always said,
Paul Hogan.
if you are a fan of double 18, you've got to be a fan of double 9 as well. And I suppose, judging by that, Paul Hogan is a fan of double 9.
The leg is Andy to throw first. Game on.
Penny for the thoughts of Scott Marsh in the practice room right now. He will come back to play Paul Hogan in match 5. Fresh in the knowledge that he's not going to be able to get through this group.
140.
Maybe he's thinking, I just want to get a win in this group. I do not want to have another potless night.
45.
But Hogan has made it to finals before on a Saturday, as has Andy. But neither player have won a phase. That is a pretty select group when you think about it.
81.
You've seen phase wins in 2022 for Robert Owen and Jim McEwen so far, with close calls for Dan
118.
Reed and Darryl Pilgrim, who came second. But if we go back a little bit further, in 2021, phases were won by Matt Campbell, who now has a tour card in the PDC circuit. Robert Thornton won phase 5, the world seniors champion.
100.
Chaz Barstow won phase 4, and the others were won by Welsh players in Jim Williams and Richie Burnett.
100.
Fallon Sherrick came really close to winning phase 3 last year. She had a golden opportunity to beat Jim Williams in that final, and she came up just short.
140.
And we've also seen a really good effort from Lisa Ashton this year. She came second in week 4 of phase 1. Made it to Champions Week, but didn't get to the final night.
140. And he requires
This
40.
should be the first leg of this contest for Andy. A really good leave after 12.
Game's on the
And
third
that's
leg.
what he banks. A
Andy
13
Hamilton.
darter. One of his best legs of the week so far. So maybe he can get into the game now the same way that Scott Marsh got into the previous game.
Four leg is Paul to throw first. Game on.
Good averages here. 95 for Andy and 91.63 there for Paul Hogan.
31.
The one thing that Andy will understand from yesterday's play is that Hogan had a really good start against Ciaran Teehan by winning the first 2 legs. And then after that, he lost the next 4.
60.
So he'll be hoping that Hogan takes his foot off the pedal a little bit and Hamilton can take advantage of that.
100.
That is a perfect first dart. And this should be a maximum.
120.
Oh, and it should have been. He just collided with his flights. And a little bit of wire on the point as well, and it cascades to the floor. He gave it every chance.
60.
It always puzzles me when I see a dart player who gets a set of flights and cuts the wings off, like Paul has. He could very easily instruct someone who makes flights to make them the exact shape he wants.
41.
I remember when Phil Taylor was with a manufacturer and the flights weren't quite slim enough, so he kept cutting them.
$140.
I may be wrong. Paul may not be cutting these flights, and it may just be me looking at them a little bit funny. But when I was a kid, didn't have a great deal of money,
58.
but there was a lot of playing cards around, so I used to make my own flights out of playing cards. I'd cut them in the same shape as flights and bond them together. They were the days.
60.
Nowadays, equipment has come on leaps and bounds. Forced to switch.
96.
Another single 19 would have left him a finish, but he gets a little bit further south. Treble 18 for double.
56.
Interesting play.
And he requires 126.
Treble 18 wasn't really the shot there. It would have left him on double 9, which he's already hit in this match. And he's not going to get a shot at the bullseye.
59.
And he's throwing that third dart away quite quickly a lot. I don't know whether that is a bad habit or not. We'll have to wait and see. Double 16.
22.
Hogan will be disgusted with that effort.
And he requires 67.
Especially after missing the single 18 for double. What does Andy leave? It's that double 16.
35.
Hogan's lucky it's not 2-2.
We require 32.
These are vital games.
Game's on the fourth flag.
And this could be a vital win for Paul Hogan. He's just dodged a bullet there with Hamilton not able to equalise at 2-2. And he's going to have plenty of opportunities now to get the points.
Fifth leg is Andy to throw first. Game on.
Now, I'm not saying this disrespectfully about Scott Marsh because we know he's eliminated. But the games between the people who are still going in this group are more important. They're like 6-pointers in football. So this game here, the next one between Tien and Pilgrim.
180.
That's Hogan's second maximum of this match. Looking down the list, Hamilton versus Tien, Hogan versus Pilgrim. Tien versus Hogan is
40.
A question mark against that one because it does depend what they do between now and game 9. And then you just wonder what Darryl Pilgrim will have to do against Scott Marsh in his last
140.
match. Hogan was on 5 perfect darts there. I was just about to pause and see if he was going to give us a 9-darter. He's going to be very pleased with this effort. I can tell you that. This is a great leg.
137.
It's almost better than great. His best leg yesterday was 12 darts. He's going to have a chance to better that.
Well, you record 44.
Double 16. And the
Game
win
shot
is
down the
his
match.
with a
Oh,
brilliant
Hogan.
display. And so far tonight, Andy Hamilton has been dealt a couple of really harsh blows by his closest rivals. 91.41 and 44% on the checkouts is a very strong display as he goes top of the table on 8 points. And Hamilton, with 2 matches left, the best that he can do is get to 10 points with his next 2 matches. We are going to have a look at Ciaran Teehan up against Darryl Pilgrim. Same thing in that match as the one we've just seen. 2 players on 6 points, and one of them is about to get to 8. That's in about 2 minutes' time here on Sporty Stuff TV. Hello and welcome back to our Group B action here at the Online Darts Live League. for Friday evening. And the next match is just like the last one. It's a bit of a 6-pointer with 2 players on 6 points in the table.
3 more each.
Tien has got every right to smile right now because he's in the top 3. By virtue of a better leg difference and playing less matches, of course, than Andy Hamilton, who has lost his first 2 games tonight. He has to respond against Tien in match 6 and his final match against Scott Marsh in match 8.
Okay, first leg, it's Ciaran to throw first. Game on.
But this was the game yesterday that saw us see Pilgrim at his best.
140.
And he might need his best once again. Because Tien was pretty useful against Scott Marsh in his first game of the night.
48.
But yesterday's win by 4 legs to 1 for Darryl. 103.93 average and 80% on the doubles. And if you think that's good, he bettered that on the doubles in his first game tonight. He was flawless.
$58.
But this is not the time in this table to be saying, I think I've done enough. Hogan, Hamilton, Tien and Pilgrim all haven't done enough yet. They're going to be jostling for position over the next 5 matches, and I'm going to be fascinated to see where they stand by the time they play their last game.
140. Here you require 170. $58.
These guys have only ever met once, and that was their game yesterday.
141.
They'd never met in the Online Darts Live League before. I get the feeling they might meet again if they keep playing the way they have been. That's a great dart for double 16.
80.
It's going to be another ton plus checkout for Ciaran right there. But if Darryl finds one, it'll be yet another break of throw tonight. Now, if you look at some of the darts that Darryl's thrown in this leg,
32.
They've been a bit peculiar. Hasn't quite come out of the traps yet. He is wafting that right arm.
On the first leg.
Just trying to loosen it up. And Tien takes full advantage of that somewhat lackluster end to that leg as he takes a 1-0 lead.
Second leg is Darryl to throw first.
Let's monitor how sharp these darts are in this next leg then. These are pretty sharp.
121.
You would say that the guys who came in fresh yesterday into this group may have an advantage. That they haven't been playing all week long.
86.
But I'm seeing a bit of grimacing in the background from Darryl. Has he got a twinge? There's something going on with his elbow or wrist or hand.
60.
If you think dart players don't get injuries, think again. Look at someone like Nathan Aspinall right now who's playing superbly well, but he's got a hole in a very important part of his wrist.
81.
I myself have gone through surgeries because of darts. It's not a natural position to stand like a dart player.
94.
It's not a natural thing to throw side on as well. It is a repetitive strain sport, and you do have to look after yourself in that regard.
100.
Honour's pretty much even after 9 darts in leg 2. It hasn't been too bad in this leg. He hasn't had any wild shots, which is good to see. Maybe he just came into this game just a little bit colder than his first one, where he won by 4 legs to 1.
140. Now we require 127.
And game. And game.
102.
If you don't know what that means,
Here and you require
you're not a darts
94.
fan. We had Paul Hinks here earlier in the week refereeing, and that is his check out. The all 127 in game from the Phil Taylor, Michael Van Gerwen match play match. And Pilgrim will get a look at the 25. Now, did Tien miscount there?
70 left, yeah.
He trimmed the 4 off, and then went for the 60 for double 15.
69.
And nothing's really gone right
Now
there.
we require 25.
So they're both on 25 after 15.
Game shown the second.
And he hasn't
leg.
missed much in the
Darryl
way of doubles
Pilgrim.
tonight, as he Darryl Pilgrim didn't miss any in his first game, and he gets a second bite of the cherry at double 4 there, and that is good enough for 1-1.
So look, it's Ciaran to throw first. Game on. $58.
Don't be afraid to get in touch on social media tonight. I know we have some of our regulars watching on. Andy Hamilton's got a lot of fans watching tonight,
100.
as has Darryl Pilgrim. He swims in some pretty popular circles at the minute with people from the Weekly Darts Cast podcast,
60.
and the likes of the Darting Nerd and all of the people that hang around those guys. Proper darting hipsters.
40.
Darts is a family, and we all celebrate the successes of the sport, and we always come together when things are a little bit less
34.
jubilant. Let's put it that way. It's been a somber week in the game of darts with the funeral of Nigel Pearson yesterday and the loss of the great Sandra Greatbatch.
45.
We should all revel in the fact that we are still here, still watching our great sport, and still enjoying it. So whoever you're watching this with tonight, just look to your left or right and be grateful. Be thankful
98.
that you're still with them. I'm very grateful that we're here. And I'm superbly grateful to the Live League for what it's given us over the last 2 and a bit years now.
60.
It's given great opportunities for players like Dave Evans, Richie Edhouse, Richie Burnett, Robert Thornton.
140.
The ability to get onto the next level of darts and to also re-establish who's going to be the story of 2022, I think. We look at someone like Dan Reed,
55.
someone that I didn't know a lot about.
Here you require
He's played really well here
111.
this year. And possible bounce backs to form for the likes of Josh Payne and Robert Owen.
59.
Pilgrim needs a biggie here. He's definitely not as sharp in this game as he was in the first one.
60. Giving you
Averaging
require
In the
52.
mid-70s, and that's a little bit worrying. Double 16 for Tien.
Game shot the third
He
leg.
takes the lead.
Ciaran
He
Teehan.
could possibly reverse the score from yesterday's fixture now if he can pick up the next 2 legs and win by 4 legs to 1.
Fourth leg is Darryl to throw first.
He would love that because it would elevate his leg difference to +5
93.
for the night and for the entire group. It would put him in second position in the table
38.
behind Paul Hogan. And Paul Hogan is going to be the last person that Tien plays in this group. I wonder how complex the
96.
situation is going to be by the time we get to game 9. But if he keeps planting that dart in there in the top left,
177.
and you can see why, that perfect dart for him is top left.
82.
I often wonder about players who use different coloured flights. As you can see, Pilgrim's using 2 red ones and a blue one. Does he sometimes use 2 blue and a red one?
100.
Or does he constantly use 2 red and a blue? There's a question for some of our social media followers who know him. He is, of course, a Crystal Palace fan. That's why his nickname is...
100.
It's something to do with it. The Flying Eagles, is that right? We've got eagles in darts. We've got a Polish eagle in Krzysztof Ratajski.
140. Darryl, you require 130.
Needs a 60 for a shot of the bull. And he's not getting it this time.
65. Ciaran, you require 46.
It's a brilliant chance for Tien for 3-1. He will have been an underdog coming into this game.
30.
And he might still be an underdog if Pilgrim takes out his shot of 65. Oh, look at that. Don't look at that.
Ciaran, you require 60.
Such a beautiful bullseye, and probably the most beautiful bullseye that he didn't want to see. And Tien finds his way to 3-1.
Ciaran Teehan.
So nothing's going the Darryl Pilgrim way tonight, and Tien is getting a lot of chances.
Fifth leg, it's Ciaran to throw first. Game on.
87.3 his average. Pilgrim 13
13
behind him.
180.
Believe it or not, that's the first maximum of this match. We had plenty of them in this group yesterday.
134.
There were 15 in 10 matches. That's a pretty good hit rate. Just a little curse of the lips there from Ciaran Teehan after he missed dart number 5. But he's inching closer to the summit of this group.
96.
What kind of twists are we going to get with Hogan against Marsh next in game 5? I can honestly sit here with all of you guys at home watching, and I have no idea who the 3 players are who are going to come through this group. I've commentated on many a Group B, many a finals night, and many a Group A and C.
98.
But this one genuinely has me puzzled. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a bit like being at the Royal Rumble and waiting for someone to come through the curtain. I've got no idea who's coming next.
57.
Is it a 1-3-3 downstairs for Darryl to try and leave tops? Needs the 57 for that.
95. Ciaran, you require 80.
First opportunity to win this match. You're thinking to yourself, just get rid of it. And he might. 5-5.
Game
a
shot
really
on
good
the
performance
match.
from Ciaran Teehan, who finishes with a 15-darter, and he puts himself in a very good position by winning his first 2 games of the night. Pilgrim did not perform in that game to his usual level, so he will have to fix things before he comes back to the Yoki a little bit later on. But Tien, just under 90, a very steady performance, and again, very solid on the doubles. He goes to 8 points and is looking pretty good at this stage. We will hopefully be saying that about Paul Hogan after he plays Scott March in the next match, but don't miss that, because there could be more twists in the tail come match number 5. That's coming straight up. Hello and welcome back to Group B action here on Friday night. We are approaching the midnight hour. We're getting very close to it, but we aren't close to finding out who the top three will be. But Paul Hogan playing Scott Marsh now, he's got a great chance of getting to double figures in points and getting very close to being in the top three for tomorrow. Hogan's already at the top, so another win here against bottom place Marsh
First, I guess Paul to throw first.
will be very good for his chances of making Saturday night. And even making Saturday night does pay off.
100.
If you don't make the semi-finals of tomorrow, you will get £375. Fourth place, 500. If you get yourself
44.
to third position, not only will you get a spot in Champions Week, a week on Tuesday, but you'll bank 750. Make the final, you'll get 1,000.
180.
Win tomorrow night, and you'll get 2,000. And Hogan is starting as he means to go on, I believe.
140.
He strikes me as a player who refuses to not be part of Saturday night. And I believe he's playing as well in this room right now as he ever has. I think he's played better here this year than last year.
140.
He's on a 116 after 9 in the first leg. Doesn't get a shot at double 18, but does leave it handy. Should try and get the cover here.
57.
Did the right thing.
We require 60.
His opponent has started really hot.
Game shown the
Takes
first
the first leg in 13
Paul Hogan.
darts. A lovely pace to that first leg, and it didn't take long for Paul Hogan to take a 1-0 lead.
Second against Scott to throw first. Game on.
This game yesterday in match 6 was brilliant. Marsh lost it by 4 legs to 3.
140.
And it was the second game in a row for Paul Hogan that he won by 4 legs to 3. After that classic with Darryl Pilgrim. That's why Hogan is in this position at the top of the table. He was able to win those close matches yesterday. Marsh was not.
60.
And that loss against Hogan was particularly hurtful, because at times it looked like he was going to win it.
100.
So far it looks like Ciaran Teehan and Paul Hogan are the
60.
two strongest players of this group tonight. They're the ones in form, picking up the points. Tien's won twice. Hogan's beaten Hamilton.
100.
And Pilgrim's picked up 1 win and 1 loss. Andy, unfortunately, has picked up 2 losses, which means his next 2 games have got huge importance. And Andy's last game is against Scott Marsh.
100.
You just wonder if he's going to have to win that match by a certain amount of legs to put pressure on the others in this table.
81.
Genuinely got no idea what's going to happen over the next 5 matches. But one thing I do know is that you can't afford to leave bogey numbers here, even when you're top of the table.
83.
That number's going to shrink now.
133.
Double 16 is left if Marsh does miss darts at double.
58.
Double top has been good to him this week on the whole.
Game shown the
double
second
10
leg.
comes up trumps.
Scott Marsh.
And this one is a bit of a freebie for Marsh. He's not going to qualify tonight, but boy, could he hurt other people's chances.
So look, it's Paul to throw first. Game on.
The mark of someone playing well is where
100.
does their first dart land. And I'm not just talking about one visit. I'm talking about over the course of a couple of nights.
100.
And Hogan's first dart, yesterday and today, has been really good.
140.
Just keep an eye on his first dart over the next couple of legs and just see where it lands. If it does miss that 60, it's still really close.
45.
That's the perfect guide to sneak it underneath just like that.
100.
So it's not in, but it is an aid for the rest of the visit. There you can see the averages. Hogan can maintain this. His personal best, which is set this year,
we
was
require
105 dead. Should go 25.
55.
But for some reason he went for treble 15. Okay, I've never seen that before. I think he might be wondering why he did it.
40. But we
I
require
don't see the benefit in doing that whatsoever. Treble 18 for double 16.
98.
Yes, that'll do with your opponent back at the halfway point. He's playing with a degree of freedom, a degree of ease. He doesn't strike me as someone who's under pressure. It's almost like he knows he's going to get through this group. He knows he's going to get a win,
46.
either in this game
we
or the next.
require 8.
But if he does keep winning,
Game
he is going to be through. Simple as that. This is a great performance so far from Hogan, but he knows at 2-1 he's still got a lot to do.
Fourth leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
Right now, there's one thing on Scott's mind. I'm not leaving this group without a win.
140.
And considering how close he was to winning Group A, if he goes out with no points in Group B, he's going to feel very strange.
41.
I've got to love that dart shirt, though. It's almost the same as Darryl Pilgrim's colour scheme, isn't it?
100.
Bit of Crystal Palace in there. I'm sure he probably hates that. But the one thing it reminds me of is an old Bolton Wanderers shirt.
100.
I don't think you'll mind me saying that, but the colour scheme and the design, it just reminds me of an old Bolton Wanderers shirt.
Hey, it's E2.
There's that first dart again, right in the prime spot.
140.
He did need the maximum to put full pressure on Marsh's position. And what Marsh is trying to do there,
95.
179, is to get 3 treble 19s to leave double 4. Not something you would have seen from many players a few years ago, but those kind of approaches have become a lot more popular
84.
over the last 5 years. 14 for Bull. For 2-2.
Game show on the
It's
fourth
beautiful,
leg.
isn't it?
Scott
When
Marsh.
you get that big zoom into the bullseye. And when it's taken, it just looks great. And he let a little pause out, didn't he, before he hit it? Very dramatic.
Fifth leg, it's Paul to throw first. Game on.
It's like watching Dallas back in the 80s, when they used to have a zoom on JR and all of the people in that show. They'd zoom in their face on the opening credits. That's what that zoom's like.
Can
Can you imagine that as a walk-on song? Now there's a little avenue that people haven't explored. The old TV themes for walk-on songs. Imagine somebody walking out to
60.
Dallas or Dynasty or Falcon's Crest or something like that. Or dare I say Knots Landing, which was almost like the
58.
poor person's Dallas or Dynasty. How on earth did we get onto that? Anyway, it's late on a Friday night and we're talking about Dallas.
60.
Down to the 19s again. And 7 19s would have left a 170. Still possible. It's actually a decent lie now.
85.
Goes into the treble 3 instead.
$60.
Just getting a bit more ragged on the scoring now, Hogan. As his average does come down a little bit towards 96. Is he losing that range on dart 1?
58.
I'd like to say he's still in control of this leg. But Marsh has had a couple of mammoth checkouts this week. A 144 tonight.
60.
And a 170 on Tuesday.
Scott, you require 160.
Paul Hogan could do with a bit of a catalyst in this game right now because he's gone a bit flat.
78. Well, we require 121.
No time like the present for a bullseye of his own.
96.
But he doesn't take what Scott could find
Scott,
in
you
like
require
4.
82.
He'll be going for the same target here. Oh, but you can't do that. That is really catastrophic for that visit.
Yes.
He scored 59.
62.
He leaves himself on double 10.
We record 25.
That's a freebie to Paul Hogan. Double 4.
Game show on the
And
fifth
he takes
leg.
full advantage of it.
Paul Hogan.
That was a 7-visit leg there. And you just get the feeling that that little let-off might be the key to winning this match.
Sixth leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
That last visit for Scott Marsh does prove something. You can't take singles for granted.
100.
You must practice those singles. No matter how good you are. We're talking about world-class players here. Players who have been on one of the biggest stages in the world at Lakeside very recently. Even they can miss a single. So when you've got a single in any game, give it your full attention.
$41.
At which point do these players just get a little bit flat with this late night action? It's really important that they keep their hydration up at this time of night. Maybe something just to perk them up. A little bit of coffee maybe.
100. Scott, you require 161.
But programming your rest on a day like today is vital. Just because you're starting at 10 p.m.
83.
You'll stay awake all day. I think having a little sleep in the afternoon would be very advisable for players playing this late. You need to be fit and aware and ready.
90. Scott, you require 78.
Hogan doesn't get to a finish, so it may be another 4-3 match between these two as Marsh goes for leg 6 and takes it without any hesitation whatsoever. So it was 4-3 yesterday to Paul Hogan. Is Marsh about to get his first win?
7
or
from
will
final
Hogan
against Paul
repeat
to
the
throw
trick?
first. Game on.
He could really use those 2 points.
140.
At the end of this game, every player has played twice tonight, which means that we will have a very fair reflection in our Group B table. If Hogan is at the top on 10 points, he's looking down on everybody. If he's still on 8, he'll be dragged back into the melee, back into the peloton. This is why I love Group B. It's just a bit more intense. And so far, so good for Hogan.
60.
Can't squeeze a ton out of that visit. And Marsh can tap him on the shoulder if he finds a 140 or something of that ilk. Not enough.
But we were going 161.
Okay, so a 25 here is a good play, or possibly for the treble 15 for him.
925.
Not too bad at all. He already knows in his own mind what he wants. A treble 10 for double 18 to get the points.
139.
And he's got company in the same
66.
zone. 20 for double 18 to win the match. A huge 2 points for Hogan. He doesn't fall across the line. He used the darts that he had at the start of that last leg to their full potential. It was a good game. The averages were very close in the end, but 67% on the doubles was actually the worst statistic. When you look at Scott's 75%, he just didn't get enough chances. He had 4, but he needed 1 more, and he wasn't given it. So full credit to Paul Hogan for doing that. 5 games down and 5 to go. We'll have a look at the table when we come back. And after the next few minutes, we will start our second half with Andy Hamilton up against Ciaran Teehan in a few short moments. and welcome back to the second half of our Group B action here at the Online Darts Live League. I am Paul Nicholson and I will be guiding you through this second half. It's go time for Andy Hamilton. He started tonight at the top of the table, but he has sunk all the way to 4th because this group is super close. His position has been magnified by Hogan and Tien winning their first 2 games of the night. Pilgrim winning 1 of his 2.
Okay, first look, it's Andy to throw first. Game on.
Scott Marsh has lost another couple, so he's on a 6-match losing streak. But if you consider the fact that Hamilton plays this match and he plays Scott Marsh in match 8, he must post
60.
a number. He's like a golfer out on the course, 4 or 5 groups ahead of the leaders. And he must post a number. Because if he doesn't, he's going to remain in that 4th spot and not go through to Saturday after a very, very encouraging Thursday. Wherever you're watching us from, live on Sporty Stuff TV, don't be afraid to get in touch. We've already had some lovely messages from people tweeting in from the UK. And if you are watching internationally, don't be shy. Get in touch at Darts Live League. Or indeed you can tweet me at the Asset 180.
54.
We've already had lovely messages from Mark Marlowe and from Ryan Siegel as well. Have a great night, chaps. Hope you enjoy your Friday and your weekend ahead. These guys do not want to be putting their feet up watching the FA Cup final tomorrow. Not that Andy's going to be too fussed about that because he's a Man United fan.
He wants
to be playing darts tomorrow night. He does not want to be watching on television. I would be curious to know, actually, whether a lot of the players do watch when they're not here.
98. Here you require 170.
This would be the second 170 of the week. It's not going to happen.
130.
But that will do for a very hot start. And there was a lot of chatter earlier tonight about Pilgrim, about Hamilton, about Hogan. But Mr. Under the Radar, Ciaran Teehan, is doing bits.
You require 40. Game's on the first.
Very tidy.
Ciaran Teehan.
He's got himself a breaker throw in leg 1, causing more misery for Andy Hamilton. What will be coming up next?
Second leg is Ciaran to throw first.
Big shout out to our 2 referees this week. Paul Hinks, who was with us for the first couple of days. And taking over from him at the weekend, Owen
135.
Binks. And to all of our referees, in fact, who have helped us over the last year and a bit. Thank you to all of them. Garen Roderick has been here with us. Charlie Kostafine, Owen, Paul Bink,
135.
Yeah, this week it's been Hinks and Binks. Sounds like a podcast, doesn't it?
60.
I wonder what they would talk about. I'll have to pitch that idea to them next time they're in the same room. I'm not going to forget about Andy Walsh as well. Great referee who joins us now and again.
96.
And everybody who works in the back as well does a great job. Everybody who provides the stats for me. And everybody who makes sure that you can see every shot going in. Andy's thinking ton minimum here. This situation, by the minute, is getting more urgent.
100.
When you look at his schedule for this evening, he's the person who finishes his campaign first. So he's responsible for putting up a number that people
96.
shouldn't be able to catch.
And he
But
requires 170.
I don't think he's going to finish top of the table now, because he's on 6 points and Hogan's already at 10. That's the mark that Andy would love to get to. But if Tien takes this 87, the likelihood of the hammer getting to 10 points is getting slimmer and slimmer. Double 18.
Game on the
And
second
essential
leg.
double 9.
Ciaran Teehan.
Hamilton right now is being hit with a hammer, metaphorically speaking. It's not a contact sport, but that one really hurt.
Feel like it's Andy to throw first. Game on.
There's another thing we have to address as well with Andy.
137.
His leg difference is not good. It's taken, for the want of a better phrase, a bit of a hammering tonight. Losing by 4 legs to 1 in the first game didn't help. And then it was another 4-1 loss after that. So he's lost ground by 6 legs. It currently sits at -2, which is the second worst leg difference in this table. And make no mistake, if he walks away from tonight,
96.
not going into the finals, he's going to be devastated. Even when he gets this little gap, his opponents just seem to reel him in.
174.
A 174 to take a half-dart lead when Andy was 140 ahead. He just can't seem to get rid of his opponents tonight. So why not dip your bread in the lipstick a bit more?
140.
He's been decent on the maximums a little bit earlier. He's got 5, which is more than anybody else.
60.
Tien's only got 2.
And he requires 128.
But like we always say, 180's for sure, doubles for dough. And the guys who are doubling well are getting the points. Ooh, hello. Oh,
Game on the third leg.
From Andy Hamilton.
Hamilton.
That deserves a lot of praise. He's had some good finishing over the last couple of days. But that was the right tactic and an amazing shot
Well, like it's Ciaran to throw first.
to get himself back in this match at
Game
1-2 down. Great statistics. And we're seeing a Tien tonight
140.
that has gone up a level. He's been steady all week long. He had to work really hard in Group A just to get into Group B, to get that 3rd spot in that group. He picked up a really vital win to get in this group, and now he's here. He's playing brilliantly. Currently averaging 106. 50% of doubles. This guy's got levels that maybe we haven't seen before.
140.
We've seen Hamilton put in these numbers. Maybe not at the Live League before, but in the PDC Tour. How could we ever forget that game that he was involved in
140.
with the Premier League semi-finals with Simon Whitlock? It's almost like his career has been written alongside the Wizard. 3 of the biggest games of Andy's career have involved Simon Whitlock.
100.
And that leg that they had at the O2, where Whitlock hit the 9-darter, Hamilton himself was on one. But
96.
this situation is getting pretty urgent.
Ciaran, you require 121.
If this leg is lost, Hamilton will need to win the next 3 Otherwise, his finals position is looking very unlikely.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Tien here just showing what you need to do when you're unsure as to what
89.
you've got. Thought it out, left it handy, and it could be another brilliant leg.
92.
And you have to say, Hamilton is not playing
32.
badly. 92 after 12 is a world-class leg.
Game's on the
But he's not
fourth
getting a
leg.
look at it.
Ciaran Teehan.
This is wonderful from Tien. This could be a personal best from him. And I assure you, his personal best is nowhere near this.
Fifth leg is Andy to throw first.
I have in front of me the statistics that tell me what his personal best is when it comes to the live league. It's 100.2. So he's currently 7 points better than that.
100.
Andy's personal best is 97.79. Even he's bettering his, but he's on the cusp of losing.
35.
But you're never out of it in this format. I may sound like a broken record when I say that we've seen plenty of matches this week where people have been 3-0 up, 3-1 up, and we've gone the distance.
140.
And at that point, it's just a one-leg shootout. It doesn't matter whether you've been on the comeback trail or lost the previous two. It's all about what you do next that's important.
45.
And Andy understands that concept. Should be the 18s here.
55.
Well, Tien's form has fallen off a cliff over the last 6 darts. Only scored 80.
$60.
Treble-less to say the least. And maybe a bit of encouragement for the hammer. Now, I got a really interesting couple of text messages yesterday from my good friend Alan Keown in
68.
Ireland. When I was talking about Premier League stars involved in the Online Darts Live League this year, I talked about the likes of Kevin Painter, Robert Thornton, Andy Hamilton, Wes Newton.
100.
And I didn't mention the name of Mark Webster, of course. So that was my fault. Great
82.
last dart. For the first time in this match, he seems to have a little bit of time to himself. It's not going to last long.
100.
Because Tien now
And
is
he
on a
requires
finish.
56.
Got to get the single. Gets that one.
16.
And this is for the match.
Ciaran, you require 161.
You would love to have a shot at it. His biggest finish this week is 160. And he gave it a scare.
101. And he required 40.
I wouldn't miss this time, Hammer.
Game's on the
And what he
fifth
does
leg.
do
Andy
with that
Hamilton.
hit at double top as he stops Ciaran Teehan from subjecting him to a third 4-1 loss, which would have been catastrophic for him.
Sixth leg, it's Ciaran to throw first. Game on.
But I have to say that leg difference is a worry. The very best that Andy can do in this match is get to 8 points, and his leg difference would still be at
96.
-1, which would be behind Hogan, behind Tien, but the win would get him in the top 3 for now. And it's at this portion of these groups that I have to start talking about the things that the players want.
93.
Hamilton obviously wants to win this game 4-3. If he can do that, or even if he can't, he wants Paul Hogan to beat Darryl Pilgrim next. Because that will keep Pilgrim
85.
on 6 points, which gives Hamilton a fighting chance. But his fighting chance would be much better if he can win these final 2 legs.
97.
It's getting to the stage now where the people who are fighting for that 3rd position, and indeed the 2nd position, which is currently occupied by Tien, they want Paul Hogan to dominate
121.
to make sure that the other people chasing don't get points. The love-hate relationships of the practice room were emphasised the other day when Matthew Denon lost to Simon
77.
Stevenson. And then in Simon's next match, Matthew Denon was praying that Simon won again. So you can go from disliking a person and 3 minutes later, you want to be their best friend.
135.
I guarantee you Andy Hamilton is not looking at Ciaran Teehan with 2 heart-shaped eyes right now. Terrific 140.
It
may be in vain.
64.
Tien's doubling in this game has been excellent. 3 hits from 5. And he gets one more.
48.
And it's missed for the match.
And he required 94.
If you're going to scrape through situations like this, you may need to get a bit of luck. Is that in? It is. Double top.
74.
Great attempt. Great attempt.
Ciaran, you require 16.
Tien comes back to finish the job. To put Hamilton's leg difference on -4. And to keep his points total at 6.
Game shot on the match. Ciaran
total
Teehan
is now at 10. So he's joined Paul Hogan on double figures, and he's looking really good for getting through this group. 95.31 was around 100 until he was on the match darts, but he does get across the line with 44% on the doubles, which is very solid indeed. Hamilton's only got 1 match left. We'll touch on that a little bit later, but when we come back after the break, it's going to be Pilgrim and Hogan. And I can guarantee you one other thing as well. Hamilton really wants Hogan to win this next match. It'll be with you in about 2 to 3 minutes. Hello everybody, and thank you for staying with us at this very late hour, if you are watching us in the UK, of course. It is so far the Ciaran Teehan and Paul Hogan show, as they are both on 10 points. But let's have a look at the table as it stands. As Darryl Pilgrim comes into this game, his 7th game in the campaign, now 4 points adrift of the top 2, but still occupying that vital 3rd spot. He's had 1 win tonight and 1 loss.
First, I guess Paul to throw first. Game on.
If Hogan was to win his 3rd game of 4, we'd have 2 players on 6 points vying for that last spot.
25.
We know that Scott Marsh is out. We know that Hogan and Tien
125.
are looking pretty safe. But only if Hogan gets a fair few chunks out of Pilgrim here.
140.
Pilgrim's leg difference is still very healthy at +3. And he can still win 2 games and get to 10 points. If he beats Hogan here, and he beats Scott Marsh in game 10. So mathematically, Hogan and Tien aren't quite there yet.
100.
But they're very, very close. You could well know at the end of this match. Because games are at a premium now. Only
60.
Scott Marsh will have 2 more matches left after this one.
49.
And he's already out. It's crunch time for Pilgrim, who at times in this group has looked really good. He could use a hefty win against Hogan to make Andy Hamilton's plight in his last game next very hard indeed. Double top. Well, that was a wide.
That wasn't the first leg. Darryl Pilgrim.
It's almost like that second dart that he threw in that visit was a no ball, and he was given a free shot, and it hit the middle stump with the last dart.
Second leg, it's Darryl to throw first. Game on.
I think it's fair to say
180.
that in match number 1 tonight, Pilgrim looked awesome. In his 2nd game against Ciaran Teehan, he looked pretty ordinary.
55.
Whatever's happened between that Tien game and now seems to have been erased. To the delight of Pilgrim and his fans, I'm sure. But this is round robin play. Not every match is going to go your way. You're not going to play exactly the same every time.
60.
You've got to ride the ups and downs. He's come straight out of the blocks, playing the way he did yesterday against Hogan.
65.
But no matter what he did against Paul Hogan yesterday, Crocodile Dundee had the answer. Pilgrim was 3-1 up.
40.
And Hogan won the last 3 legs. And
restricted
170. Pilgrim to 2 shots at double in the final 3 legs. Does he want it?
145.
He wanted it, but he didn't get it. He can't leave a finish from here no matter what he does.
99.
So it should be 2-0, whether it's now or a little bit later.
Game's on the second.
And it's right now.
Darryl Pilgrim.
If you look at his average in the first couple of legs, he's looking very handy because it's over 107.
So look, it's Paul to throw first. Game on.
At least he was for the last leg. My stat screen was just catching up. Still very handy at 103.6 though. And he's only 30 ahead in that statistic. You don't see that very often.
85.
Although the other day I was chuckling at the fact that Ross Smith hit a 9-darter in a PDC event in the very first leg of the match. And we all know that if you do that, your average is 167. Most importantly, he wants those points.
80.
He's been in situations before, in night sessions like this, where he has to win a certain amount of legs, or he needs to get that last 2 points on offer to get through a group. He would much prefer winning this match against Hogan and then Scott Marsh beating Hamilton,
58.
and then we've got our 3 in the finals.
$100.
This leg is going the way of Australia by the looks of it.
77.
And by Australia, I mean Crocodile
101.
Dundee via West Brom, which is his football team. Double 16.
69.
I'd love to see Paul Hogan get a dart shirt, which is as animated as this one, with a shrimp on the Barbie on the back. Just an idea.
Game show on the
That
third
was a good
leg.
idea.
Paul Hogan.
He's been involved in some really good close matches tonight, has Hogan, and this could be another one about to happen.
Fourth leg, it's Darryl to throw first. Game on.
That 4-3 game with Scott Marsh was really good. And the way he was able to take that 66 in the last leg for 15 darts just goes to show the sharpness that Hogan's got right now.
$60.
But that one was a bit ragged. When Pilgrim is finding nice straight shots like that, ragged is not what you can afford.
$95.
Someone like Paul Hogan has got a great story to tell. You think about some of the players he's played with, the teams he's been involved in, the places he's played. It would make for a really interesting documentary about someone who has never really considered themselves a professional dart player.
164.
Just food for thought for those people who have production companies and may want to tell a different type of story.
126.
Another great leg here from Pilgrim. Taking his average very close to that 100 mark once again.
65. Now we record 38.
This is all going to plan.
Game show on the
And
fourth
that
leg.
was part of the
Darryl
plan.
Pilgrim.
He's throwing some really good darts in this match. I make that 2 13 darters for him, and I don't think he's going to be stopped. However,
fifth leg, it's Paul to throw first. Game on.
We were in this situation yesterday. And if you don't think
60
that he remembers that, think again. It was only 25 hours ago. He was in this very same position, playing well, 3-1 up, somewhat cruising.
$140.
This is where this game is a mental thing. And I don't mean that in a crazy way. I mean that in a thinking way. How strong can you be in mind?
180.
That's pretty strong. That was one of those cricket stumps. 180s. One to the left, one to the middle, one to the right.
54.
Off stump, middle stump, leg stump. He's looking for 105 plus here. Gets the 25. And
50.
that one comes out a bit like a googly. Fortunately, it didn't spin to the right at the end.
177.
That's exactly what Pilgrim did not want to hear. How about a max? To try and fix the situation.
180, but he requires 70.
Keeping our referee on his toes. Hogan's on his toes as well. Must hit this.
Game on the fifth leg.
He's at it again.
Hogan.
180 to leave a 2-darter for Pilgrim. And back comes Hogan with a 70 checkout and double 8. This game isn't done yet.
See if it gets Darryl to throw first.
Pilgrim is thinking again, what have I got to do to get rid of this guy? He just
100.
won't go away. Look at the averages as well. 19 between them.
45.
Averages lie. Remember that. 3 maximums as well for Pilgrim. He's not home and hosed by any means. But he's getting very close.
180.
And that 4th maximum really does help. It's fast becoming the best average we've seen this week. He's already got that record.
140.
103.93. Can he better it? It's looking like he will. If he stays there.
140.
Glorious effort. And you feel for Andy Hamilton at this point, because it's looking like he may be on his way out.
140. Now you're going.
It does depend on what Pilgrim does right here. Can he win the match on double 18?
Game shot on the match.
And that is a
Darryl
12-darter.
Pilgrim.
In that match, he had 2 13-darters and a 12. And it all came up to 105.93. That is the best performance of the entire week. And what a time to do it. He's laid down a bit of a marker as he gets 57% on the doubles as well. And the high checkout was the last shot he hit in the match. And I think a little bit of a celebration at the end, as if to say, you cost me 2 points last night. I just got you back. It's over to Andy Hamilton with our last match with him tonight. Will it be his last match of the week? We'll just have to wait and find out. 3 matches to go in our Group B schedule, and unfortunately we have some bad news for Andy Hamilton fans. He still has 1 match left, but unfortunately because of his leg difference situation, he has now been eliminated alongside Scott Marsh. He's only 2 points behind Darryl Pilgrim, but even with an 8-leg swing in the remaining 2 matches for Pilgrim and for Hamilton, they cannot change positions. So Andy, who started on top of the table on Friday night, has plummeted to 4th position, and that is where he will stay, unfortunately. So commiserations to Andy. They're both still looking for their first win of the night. Marsh has 2 matches left, and this is the last time we will see Andy at the Live League in Phase 3. Now, interestingly,
180.
A little bit earlier today, Simon Stevenson was in a very similar position. He started at the top of the table after day 1 of Group C.
96.
He ended up finishing in 3rd, which was outside of the qualifying zone. And that happened with 1 match to spare. When he played his last match,
60.
against Josh Richardson, he put in his best winning average of the week and had 80% on doubles and a 96 average. So don't be shocked to see Andy in a relaxed state here, knowing that he's not going to get through and play a really good game. As for Scott, he's known for quite some time that he's not going to qualify. But he still doesn't want to walk away with no points.
$100.
Let's look at the numbers then. Marsh on 105. I've seen a few people going for bull first on that this week.
60. Scott, you require
25 for 2 double tops. Or the traditional route. 60, 5 and tops.
85. And he require 146.
These days, the fashionable route for 146 is 619s. The 146 from Damon Hetta on
Scott,
the PDC Tour this year is one of the best finishes I've seen this whole year. It was in a final against Gary Anderson. Double 5.
Game shot on the
Marsh
first
gets the lead.
Scott Marsh.
That's not something we've said too much over the last couple of nights. He's constantly been chasing. The only person chasing him is Andy Hamilton.
Second against Andy to throw first. Game on.
There is one more thing to talk about, of course.
99.
And that is table position. And I don't mean just qualifying. Based on where you finish in this group, you will be part of a certain group in the finals.
100.
Now, we're not going to let the cat out of the bag too early. But when it comes down to it, we will let you know who's in what group a little bit later on. We will have that information hopefully by the end of this session. But we have the winner of Group A in Matthew Dennant, the winner of Group C in Ryan Finesse. Second position in Group C, Josh Richardson. They've now been joined by Ciaran Teehan, Paul Hogan and Darryl Pilgrim. Pick your Week 3 winner out of that.
81.
It's going to be a fascinating Saturday night from 10 p.m. And I will be back on Sporty Stuff TV from 25 past 8 on Saturday night, just to pick the bones out of the best possible bets. And remember, if you're having a flutter, please do so responsibly. Over 18s only. BigGambleAware.org for more information.
57. Scott, you require 136.
Has the air in the sails passed by Andy Hamilton now?
87.
Has he lost his mojo,
and
knowing
that
that he's not going to qualify? It just hasn't worked for him tonight in the same way that it did on Thursday. He'd love a big out, though. Give that every chance.
92. Scott, you require 49.
Single 9 for tops.
39.
Not really that close on tops or tens.
And he requires 72.
Another one of those. 4 double top himself.
52.
And he misses it by the same margin as Marsh.
Scott, you require 10.
2 5s. Just glance off that one on the left-hand side and split the 2.
Game's on the second
how was that gone
Scott
in?
Marsh.
That is a sick dart. I don't know what to say about that. I haven't a clue how that went in.
Feel like it's Scott to throw first.
I don't even think he knows. That was one of those darts that you throw and you just hope that it goes in somehow.
60.
It's almost as if it bounced off the first dart, lost all its momentum, and then just had enough to cling on to the double 5. Sometimes you can throw a dart that defies physics, and I think that's one of them. And if you're standing in Andy Hamilton's shoes, seeing that go in, you're thinking, it's not my day.
45.
It's a bit like leaving 32 after 12 darts and you think, it's all well and good, I'm going to get myself a nice 5-visit leg, and then somebody pops a 161 on you.
28.
Just think to yourself, because I know there are a lot of Andy Hamilton fans out there. Just think how he felt when he beat Darryl Pilgrim in match 10 last night. Getting himself those 6 points from a possible 8. Going to bed feeling really positive.
60.
Thinking, all I've got to do is that later. Get a few more wins. I'm going to be in the finals. I've got a chance of making the top 3 and getting the Champions Week. Fast forward 24 hours. And the transformation
60.
in emotions. I want you to put yourself in his shoes just for 10 minutes. And imagine how this must feel as a professional darts player. And how he's going to feel when he goes to bed tonight. It's going to be very hard to take. And this is something that happens year on year, decade on decade, if you have got the career that Andy has had. You have to develop a chin. You have to take the blows and have the ability to move on. It's a very tough sport.
$134.
It's a lovely switch. Marsh is thinking max. Still is.
100.
Only a ton.
And he required 122.
Hamilton's finish may involve a bullseye at the end. Marsh's should not. I was wrong. It's 777.
108.
And it would be very
Scott,
typical of Andy's day if this is taken. Well, this single 19 is not easy. And there's evidence of it. The flight was firmly in the way. That's 95 scored, which leaves 21.
96. And he required 14.
And he will have seen a few things in his time, but he might not have seen that before. This must go. He's getting there.
Game shot on the
That's a
third
great
leg.
dart.
And
Even with all of the pressure removed, that is still a very difficult shot with maybe 1/3 of the bed to aim at, if that. A great shot from Andy for 1-2 down.
Fourth leg is Andy to throw first. Game on.
We've seen some very decent finishes tonight. And the two biggest finishes of the evening have come from these two guys.
100.
128 from Hamilton against Tien, and 144 from Marsh, also against Tien.
100.
One of our picks for the night was to see Hogan and Pilgrim give us more than
100.
1.5 180s. And that one has come in. Our pick for this match was for Marsh to have the highest checkout.
91.
So far in that regard, in a somewhat comical way, Marsh is in front. His biggest checkout is 20, whereas Andy's is 14.
83.
This match is far from done, though. Yesterday, Andy won this game with a 97 average and 67% on the outer ring, which is
60.
his strongest winning performance of this group so far. I say so far because he can better that over the next few legs, but he's going to have to go some.
100.
Played his cause. He's got himself down to a manageable number. How much energy has Scott Marsh got left? This is his 4th day of play in a row. He's not going to get a 5th.
83. And he required 118.
Very similar to Ryan Murray from earlier on in Group C. I just wonder what his next port of call will be. Hamilton looks at tops.
98.
Just paused
Scott, you
for
require
effect there. We weren't sure whether it was in.
167.
We were blocked out by that flight. This would be the biggest finish since Tuesday, which was set by Marsh.
123. And he required 20.
Double 10.
Game show on the
Lovely
fourth leg.
finish for
Andy
2-2.
Hamilton.
And we're down to best of 3 in this one. As for what's on the line, their league positions aren't going to change. It's purely about bragging rights.
Fifth leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
Marsh is probably
60.
quite happy that he's not going to affect people's league position. He doesn't want that kind of pressure. When you're already eliminated, sometimes you can feel a little bit like you want to affect people's outcome.
96.
But there's something to be said about just playing a game of darts and seeing who's better over the course of this format. That's what we will get with Tien and Hogan. That is now a shootout
60.
to see who's going to win this group. Hogan's +5 leg difference is slightly behind Tien at +7. But whoever gets to 12 points will be the Group B winner.
140.
And if you win this group, you will not be in the same group tomorrow as Matthew Dennett.
60.
Is that an advantage? You'll have to tune in tomorrow to find out. This one's got a bit ragged, a little bit scrappy. I think the adrenaline has left the bodies of these two.
83.
The averages have come way down. Marsh at 78, Hamilton at 85.
60.
But some people in this game want to win darts matches,
140.
whether there's something on the line or not. But I do wonder about that third dart from Andy, where he doesn't aim it and he just flings it. It's
60.
my own opinion.
And he required
As
42.
a darts fan and a darts coach, I firmly think it's a bad habit and it should be eradicated.
$26.
No pressure on his position. He will come back for that double 8. If Marsh does lose this match, he's very close
134.
to walking away from Group
And
A
he
with
requires
no
60.
points at all. Double 4.
Game shot on the
Yeah,
fifth
lovely
leg.
shot there from Andy,
Andy Hamilton.
who gets a break of throw and will now have the opportunity of serving this one out for a 4-2 win for his first 2 points of Friday night.
6 leg, it's Andy to throw first.
Saturday morning.
Game on.
Doesn't feel like Saturday morning, still feels like Friday night.
60.
There's that dart, you see. And one of the greatest things about Andy's career has been that extension of the arm. Then he brings the dart back, micro prod of the dart in front of his face, and then that thrust of that follow through. Whenever he shortens it and just brings the dart back and flings it, I firmly believe that that is bad for his game. Look at this third dart here. Forward, back, and through.
140.
Beautiful rhythm. But when he flings that dart without aiming it, I firmly believe that that is really bad for his rhythm.
140.
Darts coaching is all about eliminating bad habits and giving you good process.
$51.
That could have been a lot worse. But Marsh has already taken the darts. I would stay away from that dart. Is he going to go for the 20s with that dart dangling in the board? I didn't think so.
43.
I don't even think he knew what he wanted to go for. Maybe the 18s was the best option. And he can sprint to the line here. 180 would be brilliant.
140. $93.
Lovely switch.
And he require
But
100.
it's match point Hamilton. One of the only dart players out there who was named after a Simpsons character. Yes, that is a fact. Double 18.
74.
Misses on the outside.
Scott, you require 104.
Treble 16 would have left tops.
80.
And if Hamilton hits this
And he
double
required
18,
36.
it will be the biggest checkout of the game. They currently share that honour on 20 points. And on his
Game
third
shot on
match
the
start,
match.
he does
Andy
get over the
Hamilton.
line, but unfortunately, he will remain behind the line with Scott Marsh as far as the Group B table is concerned. Both averaging in the 80s, both checking out percentage in the 20s. It wasn't a classic by any means, but the fact of the matter is Andy leaves with points, and Scott Marsh still hasn't won a match in this group. He has one more chance when it comes to Game 10. But before we get there, we'll have a little bit of Ciaran Teehan and Paul Hogan, and the winner of that game will win Group B. That'll be in about 2 or 3 minutes. penultimate match of our Group B action here at the Online Darts Live League, and it's time to find out who's going to win Group B. Will it be Ciaran Teehan of Cork, or will it be Berkshire's Paul Hogan? Both on 10 points, and both have had very good times of it this evening. Hogan with 4 points, and Tien is going for the unbeaten evening. Andy Hamilton has been eliminated, even though he's got the same amount of points as Darryl Pilgrim. But even if Darryl loses to Scott Marsh in the very last match,
game on.
The leg difference can't be bridged. So the pressure's off. They're both playing tomorrow night.
100.
But where will they be playing? Will it be in Group 1 or 2?
60.
We'll focus on that tomorrow. But right now, we just want to see who wins this group. But it is fair to say
180.
that Ciaran Teehan has been very good this evening. Started with a 4-2 win over Scott Marsh. Defied a 1-4-4 checkout for Marsh in that match as well. He then got a 4-1 win against Pilgrim, who admittedly had his off game right then. And he saved his best for Andy Hamilton in a 4-2 win. Averaging 95.31. He has been a picture of consistency tonight.
100.
He's starting in that same vein in match number 4. Seems to me
136.
each day he's become more comfortable. I just wonder what he can do tomorrow.
60. Ciaran, you require 40.
Double top for a great start.
$30.
Ooh, just a little stumble. I thought a little bit earlier that this one would be really close. I picked it to go a minimum of 6 legs.
Ciaran, you require 10.
But judging by what we've seen in the table, I'd be surprised if
we
get more than 5 legs in this match. Ciaran Teehan getting the ideal start by hitting double 5, and he's been getting the lead early in matches all night long.
Second leg, it's Paul to throw first. Game on. 100.
If you don't think that Paul Hogan cares about finishing top of the table, think again. If you consider
40.
some of the players he has hung around over the last 20 years, there's a fair shed load of testosterone in those darters.
100.
In this kind of round-robin format, if he was playing with the likes of Colin Monk, Andy Jenkins, some of those guys,
140.
it's all about being at the top of the tree. I will let the cat out of the bag tomorrow. When it comes to next week's participants, I have been given that list, but we'll wait for tomorrow to unveil that. But while we've got a bit of a lull in this match, I had a little chat with my good friend Mervyn King earlier, and he's not playing in Prague on the PDC Tour this weekend, so he's decided to go to Essex to play in an indoor bowls competition with his wife Tracy, who apparently is a very good bowler. So, Merv, have a great weekend.
100.
All the very best at the bowls. And if you think Mervyn King going to the bowls is a little bit ironic, you'd be right.
Here in your require 161.
Bowlers of all time was called Mervyn King.
99.
Ciaran
Before you
Teehan
require 126.
is at it again. 57 needed. That takes care of the 26.
46. Here and you require 62.
Tien for 2-0. Looking good. Looking difficult.
46.
As soon as that dart goes on the outside wire, he covers that bed. I know he's very tall, but he still couldn't see much of it. Ooh, that was almost 80 bust.
40. Ciaran, you require 16.
He's been getting too many chances today. Double 4.
Game shown the second leg.
And when dart
Ciaran
players who are
Teehan.
right-handed are warmed up and playing well, double 4 is one of the easiest doubles on the board. Don't ask me why.
To throw first.
It just is.
Game
It's
on.
a lovely height. You know when someone takes a penalty and they say it's a good height for a keeper?
95.
Double 4 is a nice height for a double to be hit. It just feels very natural.
100.
If Tien gets a big win here, he'll not only top the table on 12 points, but he could get his leg difference into double figures as well,
97.
which would be some effort. He did a very good job on Paul Hogan yesterday by 4 legs to 2 with a very tidy 96.87 average. And the amount of times that Ciaran Teehan has had 44% on doubles is starting to get a bit silly. 44% against Hogan yesterday. He was 100% against Pilgrim yesterday, but the problem is he only had one shot at double. He's going to get a look at the bull.
145.
Tien was 28% on his doubles against Marsh earlier.
Ciaran, you require 25.
But in his last 2 matches, he has been 44% on doubles. Double 8.
Game shot on the
And
third
he's not
leg.
looking back right now.
Ciaran Teehan.
3-0, and I don't think this match is going to last much longer. He may have caught Paul Hogan just a little bit tired at this early hour.
Fourth leg, it's Paul to throw first.
Hogan finished his campaign a lot earlier than this yesterday. He was involved in match 8
180.
when he completed his 4th match. This is just a little bit further into the schedule at 1 a.m. But no player has been beaten 4-0 tonight. And Hogan does not want to be the first.
45.
And there is still a risk of Hogan losing that second spot in the table. If he loses big here,
140.
Pilgrim can still catch him for that number 2 spot, which will change where Hogan plays come tomorrow night.
120.
There's been a lot of treble 20s in this leg so far. There's going to be more. He just knew that was going to be hit.
100. But
Will he get a look at the 126? We don't know. Now we do.
100.
And it will be to win this match by 4 legs to 0. Does he stay on the treble? It's the bull. Oh, and he pierces it for a 1-2-6 finish. And boy, did he throw that one quickly. It's almost like he knew he was going to hit it. Look at this. Look how quick it is. Wallop. Just like that. So quick, so effective, and the first 4-0 victory of the night. 96.97 for the second day in succession. He's averaged in the high 96s against Paul Hogan. I wonder if they're going to do more battles tomorrow night. You'll have to join us to find out. But before we get to the finals, we do have one more match for Pilgrim versus Marsh. His last chance to get points in this group. Hello and welcome back to the last game in Group B. We have our participants going through to the finals, but we don't know where they're going to play yet, as far as two of them are concerned anyway. We have one more match and it will be Scott Marsh up against Darryl Pilgrim. Paul Hogan currently occupies that number 2 spot, but he could go down to 3rd if Pilgrim wins again. And that will mean that Marsh stays on 0 points.
Okay, first look, it's Darryl to throw first. Game on.
So the worst case scenario here for Darryl Pilgrim, if he loses this game, is that he will go into Group 2 tomorrow.
140.
And that will include Ryan Finesse and Ciaran Teehan. If he wins this match and goes to 2nd, he will be in a group with Matt Dennant and Josh Richardson.
100.
He will not be aware of that situation. He will just want to win the match. And based on the way he's starting,
123.
he's pretty hungry for it. If you'd have said to me,
140.
come Thursday morning, that Scott Marsh would be playing his 8th game and he wouldn't have a point, I would have asked you to leave.
84.
Because at times this week he's been really good, but sometimes it's just not your week.
140.
In the background there, I'm seeing Pilgrim just relaxing that right shoulder. I just wonder if he's got a little niggle or something. That's been happening all night.
60.
I do hope
So
he's
you
okay.
require 121.
Judging by the way he's played in this first leg, he looks fine. But he might lose the leg. On the bull. Oh, that's a good
89.
miss.
Now we require 94.
You don't want to miss it, but you'd much rather hit the 18 than the 25. Bull's covered. So how does he hit it?
50.
Well, he doesn't.
Scott, you require 32.
For a break of through on leg 1.
$16.
And they are the things that
Now
he's
you
been doing
require
wrong
44.
the last couple of days. Double 16.
Game
And
show on
that's
the
what
first
Darryl
leg.
Pilgrim has been
Darryl
doing
Pilgrim.
right the last couple of days. In that corner of the board, on double 16 and double 8, he's been so sharp, and that's why he's in the position he's in.
Second leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
Well, it can't be denied that Scott has let most of his chances slip. And his entire campaign
100.
in Group B started against Darryl Pilgrim. And maybe the writing was on the wall from the very off. Pilgrim with a win of 4 legs to 1, averaging 101.04 and hitting exactly 1/3 of his doubles. A very strong display.
95.
One thing I will say about next week's players, and I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, it's very strong.
137.
And Chris Mason will be back in the chair next week. He will be here to guide you through next week and Champions Week. To crown our
99.
Phase 3 champion. Phase winners so far this year. You got Robert Owen, who won Phase 2, and Jim McEwen, who won Phase
59.
1. And somebody will join them in a matter of 2 weeks' time. As for the people already qualified for Champions Week, we have 6 players through. 3 more will join
43.
at Champions Week Elite in around 24 hours. But the people already there, Stephen Burton, who won Week 1, Chaz Barstow, who won Week 2, and they're closely followed by Jim
137.
McEwen, who goes for his second phase win of the year. Graham Usher, Scott Williams and Scott Walters have also qualified for the Phase 3 Champions Week.
64. Now we require 110.
110 for 2-0. 18 section.
46. Scott, you require 100.
Marsh does like a bullseye, but he's not going to go bull here. If he had, I wouldn't have blamed him, really. He was trying to put a bit of sauce
90.
on the omelette, but
Darryl requires 64.
no chance. When you're missing double 10 like that. Double top for Pilgrim.
Game's on the second.
Really sharp on the doubles.
Darryl Pilgrim.
Really sharp indeed. I don't know whether he was going for the treble 8, but one of the gifts of that 64 checkout is that the treble 8 is just as good as the treble 16.
So it's Darryl to throw first. Game on.
Break of throw to add to the initial hold. And maybe Marsh is not destined to get any points in this group.
100.
Pilgrim is closer to playing in Group 1 tomorrow with Dennant and Richardson.
140.
Paul Hogan does not know where he's playing yet, although I think he's already left the building. He probably doesn't care. But based on the way he's played at certain times, we have to consider Darryl as one of the favourites for tomorrow night. But don't forget about
60.
Ciaran Teehan. He's won all of his games tonight. And he has topped this group on 12 points. He can't be ignored now.
57.
I know that Tien's got a lot of fans over in Ireland, and he's gaining fans over here in the UK the last couple of years.
100.
I still don't think we've seen the best of him. And I don't think we've seen the best of Darryl, actually. But we're starting to see it week on week.
126.
There's more evidence of it. On a double after 12 is something he's done plenty tonight and last night. For a second there, he was going to go for a 180 to lead 21. He decided against it. Double 8.
22.
And a chance for Marsh comes.
Scott, you require 62.
Treble 14 was the target. Another 11 for tops.
Game shown
that's
the third
really
leg.
good.
Scott Marsh.
Just wonder what's going through his mind right now, thinking he should have been 3-0 down, but is he going to escape with 2 points by the end of the night?
Fourth leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
Whenever you see Scott Marsh walking around a darts venue, there is a bounce in his step that I've never seen from any player.
140.
It's a bounce in his step that exudes confidence. The British Open champion from last year.
100.
That's got to do something for your confidence, surely.
$100.
I'm still looking at Darryl in the background, shaking out that shoulder. And that is a tactic that a lot of players use to relax their arm before they throw.
45.
Darts is all about how you relieve the tension. And if you shake out that throwing arm a little bit before you throw, it just relaxes some of the nerve endings, some of the muscle tissue. And it's a nice process to have.
97. $96. Scott, you require
bunched up a little bit in the stats here. It's Marsh now who's got the better average of 95.
64.
Takes the 64 off the score, and he's coming back for a ton. He's already had a look at this in the match and missed it on double 10.
60. Scott, you require 100.
What can he do this time with his opponent not on a finish? Almost the same. And he's got the next door neighbour. That could have worked out a lot worse.
$55.
Should be 2-2 coming in here.
Scott, you require 8.
He believes this is going in first dart. He was wrong. Double 2.
$4.
And this is a freebie.
Now we require 145.
He's a bit creative, this guy.
Scott, you require
That's
4.
for sure. I wasn't expecting him to go for treble 11 right there. Just get a bit closer. Double 1.
No score.
Could be a costly miss.
Now we require
So far, Pilgrim
58.
has hit 2 shots from 6 at doubles in this match. And he's missed the single. 1 dart.
18.
Grazes the wire of tops. He needed that extra shot
Scott, you require 4.
to get that 3-1 lead. He's not going to get it at all because Marsh does equalise after 4. Best of 3 legs from here, and that will conclude our action in Group B. So over to you, Darryl.
Fifth leg is Darryl to throw first. Game on. $99.
I'm sure these two have been to local tournaments together. They don't actually live that far apart. Orpington, where
100.
Scott currently hails from. It's in the southeast corner of the M25 motorway. And if you go around a little bit more southward,
123.
to the west of Orpington, you will find yourself in South Croydon in less than half an hour or so. If there's no traffic.
45.
If you are tuning in internationally and you don't know anything about the M25 motorway, just picture a very large round circle with lots of cars on it.
78.
The cars don't move very fast. That's pretty much what the M25 is. Word to the wise. Get a bike.
92.
One of these guys wants to motor on to win it by 4 legs to 2. The likely candidate of doing that is Pilgrim.
130.
Especially with that approach, using that bullseye beautifully. Surely the switch to the 18s
60.
should have gone to the 18s, Scott.
71.
There was an open target, and the 54 would have left 170. Double 16 for 3-2. Give it some welly.
Game shown the fifth.
Welly with a bit of accuracy,
Darryl
and it is 3-2 to Pilgrim, who looked really good at that visit. That's a hard shot from the right-hand side.
Sixth leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
If he doesn't win 2 straight legs, he will have a potless group.
60.
And you might think to yourself, it doesn't really make any difference. He's already eliminated. To him it does. It would to me.
96.
If I was in issues right now, and I had no points from 7 matches, and I'm 3-2 down here, I'd still have massive motivation to try and get through this game with a win.
100.
It's called a mini victory. And it's the mini victories that add up to good confidence.
96.
He will feel so much better walking away from this group with 2 points than 0. Judging by the fact that Marsh
81.
has got the darts here, we could be going the distance. But one more little spurt from Pilgrim could be curtains for Marshy.
95.
Well, if Darryl Pilgrim is called the Flying Eagle as a darts nickname, surely his walk-on song's got to be
60.
Fly Like an Eagle. Or Eagle Rock. It's a bit of an Australian anthem, that one. You might not know
138.
that. They play it at most weddings. Well, Pilgrim is only 76 points away from being second in this Group B.
100.
And if he does find this shot,
he requires 76.
he will be in Group 1 come the finals on Saturday. Double top.
56.
And Marsh is still going.
Scott, you require 100.
3 times in this match he's been looking at this checkout. And 3 times he's had a shot at double 10 for it.
90.
And 3 times he's missed it.
Darryl, you require 20.
It's not been his group. It's not been his night. Double 5.
10.
That's not the visit for Pilgrim.
Scott, you require 10.
I know how Darryl feels. He feels the game should be over. Double 2.
8.
It may well be over now.
Darryl, you require 10.
He has to go the same route. Double 2.
Game
And he does get the
shot
job
on the
done
match.
by 4 legs
Darryl
to 2
Pilgrim.
to guarantee second position in Group B behind Ciaran Teehan, and Paul Hogan will finish in third. There you have the last match, and unfortunately Scott Marsh, who missed 15 darts at double in that match, will walk away from this group with no points. So we'll see more of him in the future. All the best over the next month or two, Scott. But Ciaran Teehan, 12 points for him. Pilgrim with 10, and he beats Paul Hogan on leg difference to get into Group 1 tomorrow with Matt Dennant and Josh Richardson. Ciaran Teehan will be in Group 2 with Ryan Finesse and Paul Hogan. That will be your finals from Saturday night at 10 p.m. Do not miss a trick. Sporty Stuff TV from 10 p.m. I'll be here. Will you be there? I hope so. But I'm signing out for now. Have a lovely Saturday. Enjoy the cup final if you're going to watch that. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely Saturday. See you at 10 p.m. Saturday, live on Sporty Stuff TV for the Week 3 finals.